House of the Dragon is the long-awaited show that set the stage for Dance of the Dragons, the next part of the series. The finale came out recently, so we still have a lot to discuss. In this video, we'll be talking about the 10 hidden details that you might have missed from Season 1. The show did have a lot going on after all. Let's dive into it. Starting with number 10, we've got the spiders, worms, bees, and rats. While the next part could take some time to come out, it's only fair that we binge over our new favorite series again and again. We did just that, and came across hidden meanings and messages that you might have missed. The little creatures like spiders, bees, worms, and rats aren't as insignificant as you think in the series. In real life, we'd run from them, which is why we probably missed what they meant the first time around. They hold their place in the House of the Dragon universe with their symbolism. Among all the other cool creatures, these little guys shouldn't go unnoticed. Massaria became the White Worm. Then she had her network of spiders scurrying around King's Landing, keeping an eye out for Varys, who could influence the kingdom. Larys had a pretty unique symbol of his own. It was a bee, which is different from the symbol of House Strong. Rats were seen in the many frames, which could be foreshadowing certain new characters. They were seen sipping on blood or mantles, which signal events in the novel like blood and cheese and mouse. At number 9, the crab feeder had grayscale. A lot about Daemon Targaryen gets misunderstood, but no one dares to question his combat skills. It didn't take him long to best the crab feeder. We were in awe of the chaotic scene, which is why you might have missed that the crab feeder had grayscale hidden under his armor and gold mask. The mask is the same one that the Sons of the Harpy wore, so while that's a power statement, there's a bigger problem at hand. Kragas Drahar, known as crab feeder by his foes, was suffering from a kind of disease that we saw in Game of Thrones. His left arm can be seen covered in grayscale. It affects the carrier physically and mentally. You know what that means? It means that Daemon might have been exposed to it when fighting Drahar, and we all know that it can be fatal for the patient. Remember Jorah Mormont? Yeah, it isn't good. So this could be something that drastically affects Daemon's strength in the future. The look took 7 hours to create. It better have some consequences. Next, at number 8, we have Daemon's bond with the dragons. We talked about how Daemon is a pretty accomplished and talented swordsman, but with that, he's also known to be an extremely fierce dragon rider. What fans may have missed is how his bond with all dragons is exceptional. And no, we're not just talking about Caraxes, with whom his relationship is almost telepathic. You might be a cat or dog person. Likewise, he's a dragon person. The Rogue Prince made an extremely difficult task on the show look easy. We're talking about how he was able to bring in Syrax's clutch of eggs. If you watched the finale, then you know that Daemon set out to raise the dragon, Vermithor, who's close to 100 years old, making it the oldest out of them all. And this was no ordinary dragon. It belonged to King Jaehaerys I Targaryen and is very scary. The dragon's been relaxing in Dragonstone since Jaehaerys died around 30 years before the House of the Dragon finale. He's the second biggest dragon alive at the time, next to Aemon's Vhagar. The dragon did listen to his song, but didn't harm him. This alone reflects Daemon's talent and affinity to the fiery creatures. It looks like he has king-like qualities, a Targaryen one. We're not sure what Daemon wanted with the big old dragon, since he already has his own. Maybe he's seeing if the fierce dragon will come out of retirement and fight for the blacks, or breed younger ones who can go to war. Guess we'll find out. At number 7, fans might not know that Beesbury's death was foreshadowed. You might be scratching your head at this one, wondering how you missed it. That's why we're here to help. Lord Beesbury's death was tough to watch. It was violent. The thing we're talking about took place at a small council meeting in the middle of the night to inform of King Viserys' death. Most men wore green, showing their support for the Greens and House Hightower. There was only one person wearing black, and that was Beesbury. His reports on the finances were always met with annoyance, but his dedication to the realm was fierce, so it isn't surprising that he'd stayed true to his vows and to the memory of his friend. A true man of honor as he stood alone and firm, calling the actions of everyone in the council theft and treason. He survived the meeting, but his death was a given anyway. He was the only member decorated in black and red robes, which are the colors of the Targaryen, also associated with Rhaenyra's cause. His fate was understood, but sealed when he brought up the possibility of regicide. Let's move to the candlelight signal at number 6. Alicent's handmaiden, Talia, did something that reminded us of Game of Thrones. She was a spy for the White Worm and flashed a signal. The signal was so subtle that it might have been missed by most. She sent a little signal to the other spies in her network, which was basically lighting a candle in the window. In Game of Thrones, Brienne of Tarth has asked Sansa to ask for help in the exact same way, a lit candle by the window. So it was nostalgic to see a similar communication method used by Talia to inform that the king was dead. At number 5, we got Viserys' crown. King Viserys is dead, and his crown just got a hell of a lot more significant in the series. The king's reign was one of peace, and his crown represents that very fact. The crown takes on a different role when in the hands of Princess Rhaenyra Targaryen. She'll have no choice but to declare war to get to the Iron Throne and become the new queen of the Seven Kingdoms. It was last seen placed on Viserys' corpse by Alicent, which meant that the crown had to be stolen. The sigils on the crown showed Targaryen in the center, and the crests of the other houses wrapped around the space. This showed the harmony and union of the kingdom. It's a pretty cool detail and adds to Viserys' history. Coming up at number 4, the bells. King's Landing's bells are known for their symbolism, but many forget that they were also the harbingers of doom and bad news. We heard them ring in the House of the Dragons when Daenerys Targaryen came to King's Landing. They didn't stop her from burning everything though. We heard them again through the city when Viserys' death was announced to the kingdom. They've been rung for either a besieged city or the death of a monarch. House of the Dragon fixed a mistake from the Game of Thrones 8th season. In the OG season, the bells did ring, but there was no record in its history translating to a surrender. The current show restored the true meaning of the bell in episode 9. At number 3, we've got Viserys' gold dragons and Aegon's sigil. The way the show foreshadows through clothes is brilliant. When Viserys entered the throne room, he was seen in a robe with golden dragons embellished on them. The dragons are a symbol of finery for the Targaryens, but the golden shade was a foreshadowing of Aegon's impending rule. Another clever description that could have easily been overseen. Aegon had changed his sigil from red dragons to golden ones. Moving on to number 2, the significance of the 7-pointed star. Daemon made us realize with his comment that the 7-pointed star isn't just there for decoration. The heraldry of the whole castle had been changed to the star as the emblem of the 7. The Targaryens followed the Valyrian religion, and the High Towers followed the faith of the 7. So it makes sense that they extolled the faith, and it also makes sense that the Maesters were loyal to the High Towers, since their coin funded the religion. So the 7-pointed stars were mounted all over the castle. Finally, at number 1, we've got Lucerys' pink dread dig at Aemond. If we can expect the characters to be cruel murderers and bloodthirsty, unhinged people, then obviously we can understand their cruel jokes. One of them is when Aegon and Lucerys pulled a cruel joke on Aemond with the winged pig that continued in episode 8. The boys had a roast pig placed in front of the victim of the joke to remind him of the pink dread, despite all of them being grown up. While the moment was fleeting and could have been missed, Aemond registered the barb, which led to his speech at the dinner table after Viserys went to bed. That's a wrap for this video. What do you think of the 10 hidden details? Which one did you not know about? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.